Okay, so I have my beads here. Okay, so if you have beads, small beads like this, and the hole in the center is small, you will need a much smaller hook to put the bead on your yarn, because I'm using 4-weight yarn. Of course, the hole is going to be too small for the yarn to feed through, so I'm going to get a tiny hook, probably a 0.2, kind of like this, to help me with putting the beads onto the yarn. So first you're going to start off with making a magic ring. So the beginner way to make a magic ring is you're going to chain 4 and then slip stitch into the very first chain that you made, and that creates your ring. Once you have your ring, you're going to chain 3, and then we're going to put 16 double crochet inside of our ring. 16 double crochet. So that was 1, 2, 3, and you're just going to keep on going until you have 16 double crochet inside your ring. You put your 16 double crochet inside your ring, you're going to pull your tail to close the inner part of your circle, and then you're going to slip stitch at the top of your chain 3 that we created in the beginning before starting our double crochets inside our ring. Okay, so this is what your work should look like right now. Now what we're going to do is you're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to put 1 double crochet into that same chain 5 space. Like so. We're going to skip the first stitch, and then we're going to double crochet into that next stitch afterwards. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to put 1 double crochet into that same stitch where we made the double crochet. So it's kind of like a V stitch. Double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Then we're going to skip a stitch, which is right here, go to that next stitch, and we're going to do the same thing. Put 1 double crochet, chain 2, then put 1 double crochet in the same stitch. So you're going to repeat that going all the way around, making V stitches, and each stitch going around until the end. Once you've made it to the last double crochet of your row, you should have 1 stitch left. So we're going to skip that, and then we're going to go up to the second chain and do a slip stitch. Okay, now inside that chain space, that chain 2 space, in that V stitch, we're going to put another slip stitch. We're going to chain 3, and we're going to double crochet into this space. Okay, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put 2 double crochet into that same space. So basically, this beginning chain 3 counted as a double crochet. So basically we have 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. Okay, now we're going to start adding beads. So after we made our 2 double crochet into that same space, we're going to add a bead right here. So I like to pull up a loop. If you have bead holes that are bigger than your hook, you don't have to do this part. If you need to use a smaller hook like mine, I am using a 0.9 millimeter hook to put my beads on, because the hole in my beads are too small to go on this hook. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling up a loop. I'm taking my working hook down. I'm going to get my bead and put it on my smaller hook, like so. I'm going to insert that inside the loop that I just made, and I'm just going to pull everything through the bead. I'm going to grab my working hook, and then I'm going to continue the process. Okay, so that's how we're going to add the beads on if your holes are small in your beads. Just get a smaller hook, very, very small, and add it like I just showed you. Okay, so after you add the bead, we're going to find our next V stitch spot, which is our chain 2 space, and we're going to do the same thing. Put 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same stitch. Once you finish with your cluster, we're going to call this a cluster. The 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, we're going to call a cluster. Every time you're done with one of your clusters, you go add a bead. I love adding beads on my project, you guys. I don't know, it's just something satisfying about doing it. I love doing it. After you add your bead, then you just move on to the next space. So you're going to keep on doing this for this row. Meet me, guys, at the end of your row, which will be here. So I've made it to my last stitch. I'm going to go ahead and add my last bead on here, and then I'm going to slip stitch on top of my beginning chain, like so. Make sure that the yarn is pulled through so there's not like standing yarn right there. Okay, so this is what your work should look like now. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch over into this space right here. So we're just going to put a slip stitch there. We're going to chain 3. We're going to put 2 double crochet in that same space. Okay, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put 3 double crochet into that same space. Remember that first chain 2 at the beginning of this row counted as a double crochet. So now our pattern has changed for this row: 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Now what you're going to do is you're going to alternate beads. So the places that you have a bead, you're not going to place a bead there. So after I put my cluster, remember we're calling these clusters, these 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, we're going to call clusters. We're going to chain 2 after we do each cluster of this row. We're going to skip to our next space, which will be right here. And then we're going to repeat our cluster of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Okay, and then we can add another bead right here. So you can either add your beads wherever you want to. You can stack them on top of each other, which is what I'm doing. You can put them either here, do whatever you want to, but I'm going to stack mine. So I'm going to again pull up my loop, get my smaller hook, put the bead on my hook, and then put it on the yarn. Get my working hook, pull the yarn too tight, and then we're chaining 1. So since we're adding a bead, that added bead will count as a chain. So after you add your bead, chain 1 and repeat your pattern, your cluster pattern of 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. 2, 3, chain 2, 1, 2, 3. Like so. So you can chain 1 before or after. I'm going to go ahead and put my bead on. And then I'm going to chain 1. So the bead always counts as a chain, okay? Just remember that for the following rows that's to come. So keep repeating this pattern. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet as our cluster. Then add your bead on and chain 1 and move to the next space. Continue that until you get to the end of your row. Okay, so I made it to the end of my row. I added my bead, I chained 1, and now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of this first this top chain. All right, now we're going to slip stitch over till we get to this space. So we're going to have to go into the next stitch, slip stitch, and then we can slip stitch into our space. And then at the beginning of each row, always chain 3. Now we're going to start from here, this row on. We're going to change our clusters. So we're going to do 4 double crochet, chain 3, 4 double crochet. This chain 3 counts as a double crochet, so we're just going to make 3 more double crochets in that same space. We're going to chain 3, and then we're going to put 4 double crochets all into that same space. This is 3 and 4. like so. So again, for this round and for the rest of the rounds, we're doing 4 double crochet, chain 3, 4 double crochet. Sorry, you guys. And then we're going to add a bead right here. Also, we're going to start chaining 3. So after you do your cluster of 4, you're going to chain 1, grab your bead and put it on. Chain again. And then we'll move to the next space and continue our pattern with the 4 double crochet, chain 3, 4 double crochet. So you're just sort of going to repeat that for this row, and I will meet you guys back at the end of the row. Okay, I made it to the end of my row. I chained 1, added my bead, chained 1, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the top of our chain 3 at the beginning of our row. And again, you're just going to continue this pattern. You're going to always slip stitch over to your first space, your first chain 3 space. Okay, you're going to always chain 3, then you're going to add 3 double crochet, which makes 4 double crochet because that chain 3 acts as a double crochet, chain 3, and then put 4 double crochet into the same space. Okay, chain 1, add your bead. Once you get your bead on, chain 1 and continue the process. Okay, so you're going to do that as many rows down as you want it to fall on your face. If you want it to fall midway, half of your forehead, keep on going. Just try on as you go so that you can get the length that you want. At the end, I'll tell you guys how many rows I did to achieve my length. Okay, so I did 10 rows. Okay, so this next row, we're just going to change it up so that we can have the beads right here at the point centers. So we're going to continue with the same pattern. We're going to slip stitch over to our chain 3 space, chain 3, and do 3 double crochets into the same space. Now for this chain 3, you're just going to chain 1. You're going to add a bead, which will count for the second chain. Sorry, you guys, for hitting the camera. So the bead counts for the second chain. All right, and then we chain after the bead, and then we put 4 double crochet into the same space. So now that gives the bead, that puts the bead in the center where our chains are, so that the beads will fall on your face. Okay, so then we just continue with the pattern the same way as we did before. So instead of, you know how in between each cluster, this is up to you. You can continue to add your flowers, or you can just chain 3, move on to the next, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chain 3 and then move on to the next space with my 4 double crochets. Chain 1, add my bead, and then I'm going to chain again and then put 4 double crochet into the same space. And then once you're done with this row, you'll be completely done with your whole cap. Okay, so I've made it to my last cluster in my chain 3, and I'm just going to slip stitch on top of my first chain 3, and I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to cut. And of course, after you cut, weave your end in to your work so that you don't see the little tail string hanging. Okay, And now you're completely, so in total you should, if you chose to do follow my pattern exactly how I made mine, you in total you should have 11 rows. Okay, but this is the finished product. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. As always, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I am happy to answer them all.